Hello, my name is Mark Angelo Cummings. Originally, I was born as Maritza del Carmen Perdomo in Havana, Cuba, a little island in the Caribbean. My life has been an amazing journey. I probably have lived 5 lifetimes in one. I don't regret one single thing. It has all taught me such great information and wisdom. My childhood was kind of a difficult childhood, but whose childhood isn't? I'm the eldest of 3 siblings. My parents were kind of dysfunctional parents. A lot of fighting, a lot of miscommunication. My father was an alcoholic. My mother had a lot of issues because of not having fulfilled or being married to the person that she was in love with. I think a lot of individuals go through life really trying to find the one and sometimes end up settling. I did my fair share of settling into many different relationships that ended up in disasters. I was in a long-term relationship, 10 years, to an ex-wife who had originally met me as a female and was with me through my transition. The reason I transitioned was because I never felt I fitted in life. I always felt like a two-spirit person. Sometimes I felt feminine, sometimes I felt masculine. When I heard about gender dysphoria and transitioning, I thought that was me and it's what I needed to do. So I pursued it, did everything to change my gender legally. I was even married legally to a female and thought that was it. Life was wonderful. But there was still something deeply missing. I was not with the one that I would consider my twin soul. I had several other relationships after that were not very happy relationships. Being in 2 different places at 2 different times, people not really seeing eye to eye, not finding the one, the person that would fulfill both my male and female side. There was a lot of complication with my self-searching or soul-searching. And I think until I finally came to accept the fact that I am both a male and a female, and finding that person that would see me for who I am was the reason that I failed in all the past relationships. Lynna and I are introduced by an admirer of our YouTube channel, an individual that would watch a lot of my stuff and is watching a lot of Lynna's stuff as well. They contacted me and actually I'm a very curious person. I'm not going to pass away any kind of, I don't know, I'm going to call it a blind date or blind date online if you call it. And I actually contacted the individual and we are engaging in conversation, phone, text, Facebook, you know, the typical social media stuff that we do nowadays to define love, the love that we feel is somewhere out there but not quite sure how to get it. We find it very promising, this interaction that we have between one another. We're both from the Caribbean. We both have a lot of things in common, music. We are into creating. We love to speak both Spanish and English, so we do a little Spanglish thing going on there. And we're both very spiritual in a sense. Lynna's a little more into the Christian, or was more into the Christian belief. I'm more into the spiritual awakening, the universe, the great I am, Mother Earth, and all that great stuff. We decided we want to meet. It's something that we feel that needs to be done. Okay, cut it. We decided to meet, and we created a date and holidays are one of the best time ever to meet. So even though there's a lot of fear, a lot of unknowns, especially after having had a share of bad relationships, this is an exciting, but at the same time, there's a voice behind in the back of my mind saying, be careful, be warned. People act in their best behavior when you first get to know each other, especially online. I mean, I know that online dating is not the greatest thing, and we all say what we're supposed to say, and everything seems fine and dandy, but when real life hits, that's when the problem starts. But inside my heart, something tells me that this is the one. This is the individual that I've been searching for my entire life. So the date is set. Lena's going to come to see me in little Silver City, New Mexico, population 10,000. I'm sitting here in my RV, just waiting desperately for my twin soul to arrive. We decided to meet, and we created a date, and holidays are one of the best time ever to meet. So even though there's a lot of fear, a lot of unknowns, especially after having had a share of bad relationships, this is an exciting, but at the same time, there's a voice behind in the back of my mind saying, be careful, be warned. People act in their best behavior when you first get to know each other, especially online. I mean, I know that online dating is not the greatest thing, and we all say what we're supposed to say, and everything seems fine and dandy, but when real life hits, that's when the problem starts. But inside my heart, something tells me that this is the one. This is the individual that I've been searching for my entire life. So the date is set. Lena's going to come to see me in little Silver City, New Mexico, population 10,000. I'm sitting here in my RV, just waiting desperately for my twin soul to arrive. So needless to say, my excitement is off the charts here. But gosh, what if it doesn't work out? What if this trans woman is like every other trans woman I've known, with all sorts of issues and complications and hormonal imbalances and all the stuff that comes along with being transgender? What if this person is not the one? I mean, these are things that are just constantly running through my mind. Should I just tell her, no, don't do it, don't come? It's too soon. I mean, after all, it's only been a few weeks that we've been communicating on the phone and online. But do I really want to tell her not to come? I mean, it's like one of those battles that you have inside your head. So here I am, waiting for Lynna to arrive. Text, phone, all throughout the ride. Comes the time for Lynna to arrive. And Lynna has not returned my text, can't get through to the phone. There's no connection on the phone? Could she possibly be in a no-zone area? I'm not getting any information. I'm worried now. I'm worried sick. I'm contacting everybody on Facebook. Everyone's now getting worried sick with me. It's about time for her to get here. Nothing. No text back. No, I mean, there's no way of communicating. So I'm going to go ahead and call the cops. I'm going to go ahead and try to see if, somebody could go check around the area, because she should be here by now. Yet she's not. I can't begin to tell you the worries, the fear, the thinking, what if she fell off a mountain? Where is she? Did she change her mind? All of a sudden, did she get cold feet and went back and is not going to contact me? All these things are going through my head. What was supposed to be the happiest day of my life could end up being the worst day of my life. What if she's dead? I have no clue what's going on. Been up all night, no sleep, back and forth with people on Facebook, frantic. Nobody has heard from her. No one knows where she is. Cops been called. They still have no information. I started doing Google searches online to see if there's an accident, something that happened. Sure enough, there had been a major accident in Hillsborough. I went back to the Facebook page, saw a signal, picked up the phone, tried calling, got through. Lena's alive, has been badly hurt, fell off a mountain, 300 feet, rolled, car rolled 15 times. Fractured C1, C3, C4, and T7. Spinal cord injury, ligament torn. But she's alive. We talk. My only thought is, I'm thankful that she's alive. She's well. I want to see her. Don't have a car, but I will move heaven and earth to see her. I can't even begin to explain what's going on in my heart, in my head right now. I don't know what the future lies. I know I want to see her. I know I want to make everything okay. There's a lot of complications ahead. A long road to recovery. I get to the hospital after finally finding someone to give me a ride. El Paso from Silver City is a good 2.5-hour ride. It had snowed that night. Lynna had been found by the grace of God by people that passed by for no reason whatsoever. This is not a road that you normally take. They found her and they airlifted her, El Paso Medical Center. I get to the ICU. Lynna's laying on an ICU bed, unrecognizable. This is not at all the person that I've been texting, viewing videos about, and pictures. All of a sudden, I look into her eyes and I see fear. I see her soul. But in her soul, I didn't just see Lynna. I saw an injured person. A man. A child. Who automatically brought out in me the nurturing, the woman in me that I have tried to kill for years after transitioning. I asked her if she wanted me to stay. I was committed to help her heal. I was committed to be there by her side for as long as she would have me. I was committed to honor, to cherish for the rest of my life this soul that was hurt, not only physically. What I saw in those eyes were more than just the fall from a mountain. I saw a broken soul, a soul that needed love, a soul that has never been truly loved by anyone in her life. Okay. I've never been much of a expressive person, a person that has thought of others. I've always kind of taken care of me. because of the dysfunctional household I grew up in. I learned that if I wasn't my caregiver, my caretaker, kept my emotional self in tune, that I would fall. So that kind of life has taught me to always think of me. For the first time in my life, I have felt this nourishing, nurturing, loving feeling come on to me for someone else. And this person that is in front of me, injured in more ways than one. A hospital stay, 7 days in that hospital, was the most grueling thing that I've ever had to endure. Slept in the most uncomfortable bed, whatever sleep I did get, because I kept watching her through the night. Had difficulty breathing. Was very scared. I mean, somebody just falls off a mountain. There's a lot of post-traumatic stress going on. A lot of challenges ahead. Unable to move her hands correctly. Broke her neck, so can't sit up, can't do a lot of things. I was her hands, her eyes, everything for her. I guess I'm grateful that I went to school to be an occupational therapist, because everything that I learned came to work during this time. Everything I learned was put to use with this person that was given to me to help heal me, to show me how to love. I knew that there was going to be a lot of challenges. 5 children, an ex-wife, bills of the kazoo, a lot of post-traumatic. I knew, it's just obvious that somebody who has already gone through problems with gender identity, problems with divorce, problems with understanding what has just happened to them, it's got to be a very challenging ordeal. Was I able to take on all of this? Those fears ran through my head. Was I going to be strong enough? Was I going to be able to take this on? It has been quite the challenge. This has been one of those things that I never thought I would have to endure in my life. But with every challenge came lots of rewards. Every time I would look into her eyes, I would see this innocent, beautiful, angelic self. It's amazing how people don't realize that human beings have both a male and a female side. That man, injured man, young boy that I saw in the hospital, all of a sudden, as we're laying in bed, I see this angelic woman, girl, innocent, angelic being. It blew me away. I knew from that moment on I had found my twin, the person that had both the male and female energy that I searched for an entire lifetime. The person that could totally understand me and ride this wave of life with me. I knew I wanted to make her my wife. I proposed. Very typical way, at a restaurant over some margaritas. I knew that we were destined to be together for a lifetime. I knew that I wanted to die in this person's arm together. I knew that my life meant nothing without her. I knew there was going to be ups and downs. But for every up, it was worth it. So we set a date, July. Actually, we didn't really, okay, let's start. So I proposed, and she said yes. We wanted a Vegas wedding. I've never been to Vegas, and I thought, hey, that would be cool. So that all changed as quickly as everything changes in our life. We ended up going to Vegas, but not to get married. Vegas, honeymoon destination. Married in a courthouse here in Silver City, New Mexico. Had an amazing ceremony held by good friends of ours in their home. But the weather did not hold up as we expected. But we still managed to have the most amazing, romantic, small ceremony amongst friends. In the desert, rain is a blessing. So the gods blessed us on our special day. We continue to have challenges. A lot of our challenges is what definition the world has for what gender is supposed to be. There's challenges like everyone else has them. The memories of her past continues to seep into the present. It's something that she's working on, and I'm working on being patient and understanding. I can say this: I am the luckiest person alive. Not too many people get to live life with the one they love. Get to live life waking up every morning, looking into the eyes of the most amazing soul, the most innocent, loving soul. I get to do that every morning, and I will get to do that for the rest of my life. And all I have to say is, Leanne, thank you so much for complicating my life, for bringing Lynna to my attention, because life would not be worth living without her.
Hi, my name is Lena Ariel Cummings, and I am 45 years of age, formerly identified as a transgender female. Now I see myself as a gender variant individual and expression. Let me start over. Hi, my name is Lena Ariel Cummings, and I am 45 years of age, and I used to identify as a transgender female. I was originally born in Santa Ana, California, and my name was Paul Lopez. And I basically always had a feminine side to me, and it was always a part of me that I tried to hide away, and used to just really struggle with it. But as I grew, I tried to accept it. I tried to do whatever I could to make it something that, let me start over, sorry. Hi, my name is Lena Ariel Cummings, and I am 45 years of age. I live in Silver City, New Mexico, with my husband now, Mark Cummings, and I used to identify as a transgender female. I was originally born in Santa Ana, California, and my birth name was Paul Lopez. And I came from a family of my dad, my mom, and my sister, 8 years older than me. I've always been a person who's kind of, had issues with their gender. I remember from a very young age and just thinking that I didn't want to be a boy, as if I could do anything about it. So I just kind of kept it to myself. and struggled with it growing up, but decided that it wasn't worth pursuing anything because my Christian faith wouldn't allow it. My parents were very strict, conservative Christians. I grew up raised in a Christian home, went to a Christian school, ended up going to a Christian university, ended up working for a Christian organization. And it was really, really difficult, because that type of expression is not necessarily allowed. So I just kept it to myself. Eventually, I met and married a beautiful woman in Bible college. And eventually we had 5 kids. Yeah, believe it or not, 5 children. In this day and age, right? But yeah. And it was a typical, family. I was a family guy. Took my family wherever I went. My career has always been as a camera operator, working as a professional in broadcast television, and traveling all over the country, doing different sports events and award shows and whatnot. And I used to be a person who wanted to take my family wherever I could, and did. And that was until I really hit rock bottom with my own personal gender identity conflicts in the fall of 2011, and decided that it was probably best for me to choose to make some really drastic decisions. Initially started off as cross-dressing and eventually ended up transitioning, and came out at my work eventually in the the winter of 2014. And it was definitely unexpected, something that nobody would have seen coming. And this was after maybe 2 or 3 years of conversations with my now ex, dealing with my gender conflicts and everything, going to therapists, going to counseling, trying to figure this thing out. So I just jumped in and eventually lost everything. Lost my relationship with my then wife, and my children's relationship was splintered because, as a Christian, my goodness, this is like probably the worst thing that anyone could do. And so I ended up without a job, without a career anymore, without so many things, and ended up having to relocate because my initial employer, they refused to hire me anymore, and made my way to Minnesota. So I had lived there before with my then wife and the kids, and I just decided to pursue a different new start to life. It was a very, very rough decision, very hard, because the children were definitely lost in the process, but I tried to make the most of it. Well, it brings me all the way out to December 20th, 2014. I met this guy who was online that really piqued my interest. I put up my picture, as so many transgender females do, selfies everywhere, and he commented and said some nice things, and I responded, and texts and phone calls, and then all this stuff happens, and voila, we're conversing. And it was like this person that I had, it's like I knew that person my whole life. It's like a familiar spirit, like a person that you swear you've met before, but you really haven't, because there was, he's in Florida, I mean, well, actually, he was from Florida, but he was living in Silver City, New Mexico, little town. And I was like, where again? Where is this place? I knew Albuquerque, I knew, some of the major cities, but Silver City was like, Silver Spurs, Gold City, where are you? And he's like, yeah, I live in a nice little town and would love to meet you sometime. And I was like, in the throes of a lot of things. Emotionally I was a wreck because of all the transitioning and everything. And I was just struggling, And one of the last things that had happened to me prior was that my ex was not going to allow me to visit with my children. And so that was like kind of like the nail in the coffin, and I decided I'm going to do something for me. And I've always been an adventurer, so in the conversation we were talking about it and about meeting, and I said, how about if we meet sooner than you think? And he's like, what do you mean sooner than you think? And I'm like, well, it's Christmas time, and I'm thinking, how about just after Christmas we could meet? And he's like, hesitant, but I could tell he's interested and stuff. And because when we met, it wasn't like we were shy about it. We just kind of started talking on the phone. We're just talking like old friends or something. It's really strange, and I felt very comfortable, just blabbing about my life with him. I had found out that he is actually a trans man, so what would be a better combination than a trans woman with a trans man, right? But what happened was I just fell in love with this person from the very beginning, and it wasn't their looks, it wasn't like some one specific thing, it was like their spirit, it's like it spoke to me, and it's kind of hard to explain, but love at first sight really does happen, it's really odd, but I'm a crazy person, so I decided to take the plunge and go visit, go see what this person is all about. You never know until you meet somebody. They can be and look like whatever on pictures. People Photoshop stuff all the time. You never know who's real anymore. But he kept telling me, you should watch my videos. You should see me on, the YouTube channel that I have and stuff. And I was like, in the middle of, I had a tracheal surgery so that I could remove my Adam's apple. And I was not really in a place where I could get any Wi-Fi. So I was like, yeah, I'll check it out sometime. But ended up, just go ahead, pause it. Sorry. So we decide to meet. I decide to drive 1,000 some odd miles from Minneapolis in the cold, stark winter all the way down to almost Mexico, basically. From Canada to Mexico is what I did, I guess. Give or take a few hours. And I have a boyfriend at that point. I have, somebody who really cared about me a lot, I thought. And, but relationships are one of those things where, if you don't meet at the same level, you're always trying to fight to catch up to each other, and then it never works. It's got to start off like this. For me, it feels like that's what has to happen, because if you start off on the lower end of the totem pole, then you're constantly doing that, and I just don't think that that's how a relationship will work or last. So I decide to drive out there. I decide to put my life in a lot of danger because it is, after all, the middle of winter, and snowstorms happen. blizzards. I mean, on my way down there, I am thinking, when is this snow gonna stop? You know, I'm like in Kansas City, I'm in um, Amarillo, I'm in like get to the border of New Mexico. I'm still in snow. It's like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I've been conversing with him. I've been talking to him. Um, it's something that I was really excited. He's telling me that he's gotten like some special gifts and stuff for me, and he can't wait to see me and kiss my lips. Apparently, he was really attracted to my lips, or whatever. And I was like, this is so cool. You know, it's like, I don't know, it's like a chance of a lifetime. So I'm driving and I'm driving and I'm driving and I'm driving, and it's about 5 p.m. On the evening of the 30th of December, and I stop at a Carl's Jr., a rest stop, get some gas. I converse with him for the last time. He's telling me that he's going to go take a shower and have some dinner and that he can't wait to see me. I'm just outside of Albuquerque. I've got another maybe 4 or 5 hours to go, and I am ecstatic. I'm texting, I'm taking videos on the road like I shouldn't have been doing, but I end up driving on I-25 South in Albuquerque, and I get to an exit at about 8 o'clock in the evening, and it is the last 50 miles before I can get to Silver City, New Mexico. Now, I had no idea that what was going to happen was going to change my life forever. Go ahead and stop. So I make the fateful turn onto US 152 going west towards Silver City. Google told me to go there. I've been following my Google Maps on my iPhone all the way from Minneapolis, from Canada, all the way almost to Mexico. And I'm thinking, you know, this is going to be perfect. I just got a little ways to go. I'm almost there. I'm bone tired. I've been driving all night, resting occasionally, but mostly driving, and pumped up full of adrenaline. I make the mistake of not taking a no-dose or one of those 5-hour energies or something like that, because I needed that 5-hour energy specifically on that road. It's a curvy road. The options are, and I didn't know, if I did, I probably would have taken it, but there's another option available. I could have taken it and not had to go through the mountain pass, but I'm thinking to myself, Mark, why didn't you tell me that this was a mountainous road? And I'm just like excited, so I journey into the night. I've been pretty lucky in my life. I've avoided lots of, close calls with death, and traveling on the road and stuff has been a lifetime thing for me with my career. But this one was one that I wasn't going to win. I wasn't going to come out on the other side well and healthy. About 9 o'clock, I make my last video on YouTube. I'm tired, obviously. I pan the camera onto the road. It's barely lit because one of my headlights has gone out during this trip, and that left headlamp was, not working right. So I'm kind of like driving with one headlight. I turn the camera back around on me, and I'm obviously tired. I'm obviously not completely with it, and decide to make this last video and say goodbye to my listeners and stuff, and on into the night I go. About 9:30, I get to the top of a mountain pass called Emery Pass up in New Mexico, Black Hills Range, and I make the worst decision in my life. Immediately after I take several turns coming down from Emery Pass, which is the highest point. I make a really bad decision and basically drive off the edge on the left side of the road and into, I don't know what. I'm thinking, what have I done? Once I heard pavement on my tires, gravel on my tires, I'm sorry, I just knew that this was not going to end well for me. I just thought, okay, I'm going to die, basically. The car hit a tree. It hits a tree, it rolls 15 times, end over, not end over end, but on its side, all the way down this rocky, wet, even snowy, drop. And I end up at the bottom of this canyon, about 300 feet off the road, plus another 200 feet, probably a total of 500 feet. And I am thinking to myself, I should be dead. I should be dead. I should not be alive right now. I was expecting that every flip of the car was going to sever me somehow, But I land upright in my car at the bottom, pinned up against a tree, and I am not sure in the darkness of the night whether that tree is holding me from going further down or if I've made it to the bottom. I'm fearful. I'm scared to death. My airbags have gone off, and I'm trying to get to my phone. Somehow, I'm thinking, what in the world? Where did it go? Where's my phone? And it's cold. The windows have been blown out on the left side, driver's side. I've thankfully been wearing a jacket, so I'm not going to freeze through the night because I had my nice warm down jacket. And but I can't move my arms. Neither one of them is functional to me at this point. The fact that I'm even alive is a miracle itself, but I'm trying to move my hands to touch anything in the car, even stupidly trying to turn the ignition. I don't know why I would think that, but I can't even put strength in my wrist enough to turn the key to ignition to turn it on. And I'm thinking, okay, this is a bad situation. This is a very remote road. You're out in the middle of nowhere. And I'm looking for a drink. I'm looking for anything. And I think at some point in time, I just thought, stop. You just need to rest and wait for help to come. So I prayed and I fell asleep. Somehow I fell asleep. Around daybreak, I get up and I look around me and I'm still kind of like wondering, this is not happening. This is not true. I mean, this is a dream, right? But I smell that smell of a blown airbag, and I see the big gash on my wrist and my arm, and I have got like this big cut here that is like telling me, no, this is real. This is not a joke. And I'm wondering what I need to do to survive. What am I going to end up dying down here? I'm obviously off the road. I'm obviously not in reach. So about 11 o'clock, miraculously, two cars stop just above me, and I'm not seen. I'm not visible to them at all. I hear two ladies talking and they're just laughing with each other outside. I don't know why or what reason they have chosen to stop, but they have chosen to stop there. and I let out a yell and I say, "Help! Help! I'm down here. Um, I've fallen off the mountain." And I can hear these ladies going, did you hear something?" And I go, "Help!" And they're like, "I think there's somebody down there. I don't see anybody, but oh my God, there's a car down there." And I was like, "Oh, thank God, somebody heard me. Somebody actually saw my car." So they yell back and they say, "We're gonna send somebody down. You stay down there, whatever." And I'm like, obviously I can't move, but it's like, oh, finally. It was like a relief, you know. I was like, something's gonna happen here. I'm gonna get out of here alive, maybe. Because I knew my feet weren't messed up and I still could move around. I didn't feel like my head had been, you know, banged up really bad, but for some reason my neck was just in serious pain. I couldn't move it. I couldn't move it at all. Two guys come down, one of them with a Dr. Pepper, and like, "Are you okay, miss? Are you all right? Looks like you're gonna be okay. We're gonna call for help and just stay calm. Don't move your neck. We need you just to stay still. But we're gonna get you out of here." So two brave guys come down and they comfort me and they give me a drink. I'm obviously dehydrated at that point, and one of them stays down there with me. The other one goes up for help. He goes up and hails down a snowplow because this road is going to be closed in about 4 or 5 hours because the snowstorm that is forecast is going to hit in the next, several hours. The road is going to be closed completely. No traffic was going to be allowed up there. Snowplows throwing dirt to keep ice from forming, and he calls up emergency services, some local rescue group, and eventually I get pulled out of there. I'm getting pulled out of there, and it's a miracle that I'm even able to be out, because my car, I look at it as I get out of my car, and it is a sardine can. Its front end is missing. There are tires on the car, but it has been ripped to shreds. My head is in a place in the car where the metal of the top of the car hood, the roof caved in and in a V formation. And if I would have been over here, I would have been dead. So I get thrown onto I get placed onto a gurney, and there's this cable system that they attach, and they hold it and then they pull it with a cable, and it's like out, and I get put into this ambulance, and everybody's very, very kind and everything, and I get put in an ambulance, and then I get put into a helicopter. Next thing I know, I'm up in a helicopter flying off to somewhere to go, to a hospital. Eventually I find out I've been admitted to El Paso University Medical Center, and I've been admitted to the ICU ward, and I am just terrified. I don't know what's going to happen. So I'm lying there recovering from this terrible, terrible accident, which I'm being given 25% survival rate. I've broken my neck in 3 places. I don't know if I'll ever walk again. I don't know if I'll ever get, full movement of my hands anymore. I just don't know. And doctors tell me that I need to get my neck fused. They're telling me that I need, to make sure that, I consider all my options, and that my best option was to sit in a hospital surgery and get an 8-hour procedure done, which would fuse my neck to my back. And where my neck broke, it's a C1. It's that atlas bone that is where my head's attached, and I would have to sit for the rest of my life with this device clamped on my back with pain meds for the rest of my life. I asked my then wife, because we were going through a divorce, what I should do, and she said, by all means, listen to what the doctors tell you. And Mark called. He was the first one that I got in touch with, because I had asked emergency recovery people over there on the mountain to call Mark, and I didn't know if they were going to, but somehow Mark calls me. Baby, are you okay? Oh, I'm so glad that you're alive. I've been worried, so sick. I've been so consumed with this. I mean, I have not slept at all, you know. And I was like, yeah, I'm alive. I'm here. He goes, baby, I want to come see you. I don't have a car, but I want to come because you mean so much to me, and I'm so glad that you're alive. I'm like, please, yeah, please come, you know. He goes, I can't come on the 1st of January. That was when, you know, what was it? On the 31st, New Year's Eve, spent by myself. January 1st comes around though. He gets to see me for the first time, and I remember the ICU nurse saying, Lena, we have a couple visitors actually here for you. I was like, oh my gosh, this is it. I'm gonna meet Mark. He comes in, he's wearing this little green beanie and a like a fleece jacket, and he's carrying a big teddy bear and a big smile on his face that I'll never forget. It was literally love at first sight. And I just looked over at him and I said, oh my gosh, you're so cute, you know. And I could just see this loving, not man necessarily, not woman necessarily, but human being, a spirit that was just like so like welcoming, where I had been rejected by so many, and my own mom and my own ex-wife was like probably thinking, you know, this is probably what God did to get you to shake your senses and get you to realize this gender thing isn't, you know, true and whatever. But Mark didn't have those kind of stipulations. Mark looked at me and he's like, do you want me to stay? I want to be here with you. I want to take care of you if you want to. And I don't know if you're going to end up a paraplegic for the rest of your life or not. But I'm here. I'm here for the long haul. And immediately I said, yes, please stay. And we made a video on YouTube that day, and Mark and Lynna first meet, and you know, we talk and stuff, and it's like familiar people. We're like friends automatically. We know each other. We just like, I don't know, we've got like this camaraderie already. It's like if there is an afterlife, if there is reincarnation, I feel like I've met this person in another life somehow. And that's coming from a person who came from a Christian background. So I believe in that now, you know, because it happened to me. And immediately he takes over all of my medical stuff. He's like, why are her hands all like gnarled up, you know? I mean, it's like they were all like this, you know? And he's like, can you get some Coband on that and wrap it? And, you know, and the nurses are like doing what Dr. Cummings is asking. You know, it was really something to see, because he really went all out, you know, and And so I'm recovering. He tells me not to do the surgery. He's like, don't do it. No matter what, we're going to fight this. We're going to beat this. This is not an injury that is going to keep you down. I will help heal you. And I said, okay, let's go for it. So we spend the time in the hospital, 7 days and stuff. They move us to, a less critical floor and stuff because I've been healing. I had my MRI. I'm being given this brace to wear, that like clamshell that goes around my back and my front, and I'm recovering, but it's hard. It's painful. Every time I put that thing on, it was hard. It was just like, I'll never forget. Just the helplessness you feel. Well, eventually we get out of the hospital. They get us, what is it? They dismiss us or whatever, and they send us home with a walking thing that I never used, and that clamshell thing, and a brace on my neck. Friends bring me back. The friend that brought Mark brings me back, and every bump on the road from El Paso to Silver City, I feel, because I am in serious pain from my neck. And Mark's holding me the whole time. I'm in the seat of this person's car, in the front seat, and he's holding it. Get to Silver City, and some friends, a friend of Mark's actually, he's gracious enough to offer, this place is like a recovery place, assisted living facility, and we graciously have been able to recover a little bit longer during those crucial times and stuff, and I end up, getting better incrementally, but I can't stay at the assisted living facility forever, so we're going to move. We're going to go from there, and I don't know to where, but eventually find out that we're going to go to a motel that has a disabled accessible bathroom, because I'm in serious pain, and I'm in no shape to climb up into his RV that he was living in. But we make it happen. We laugh, we cry, we hold each other, we have great intimate times together, and every time that I am intimate with Mark, I get better. It's like a miraculous healing takes place, and I am seeing myself just recover and getting better and better and better. But he takes it upon himself to do everything for me. He cooks for me. He wipes my butt. He gives me a bath. There's not one thing that we don't do together. And that is something that I believe the woman inside of him, that nurturing person, that loving, nurturing woman, selfless woman, giving woman, sacrificial woman, that's what Maritza does for Paul. And Maritza is just an incredible human being at this point, because nobody is coming to my aid except for Maritza. Maritza's it. She's the only one I have. Pause it. So I'm getting better. I am feeling so much better. I'm out of the brace. I'm a person that is really like, I don't know, I'm a risk taker, but I have a strong will, and I have a strong fortitude to make it and decide that, no, pause. So time goes by, and I am recovering in the motel, getting better every time. Every week is getting better for me. We decide to move out of the motel because I'm recovering, and move back to his RV. And we stay there for like I think it's a total, I'm ending up going to stay there for like 5 months or something like that. But we're ending up, just exploring ourselves. Blah, blah, blah. Let me start over. Sorry.
Okay.
Gosh. So eventually we move out of the RV, out of the motel, because I'm getting more movement and I'm able to function better, and just walk around and stuff like that. End up going to his RV and recovering even more. We start eating right. We start, he puts me on a diet and we start, eating like raw and everything, and I'm recovering. And I have a mountain of issues. I'm dealing with PTSD, I'm dealing with rejection, I'm dealing with bills up the wazoo, I'm dealing with all kinds of stuff. But we make a commitment to each other. We're going to see ourselves through these things. We're going to climb each and every one of these mountains individually and come out on top. And that's what we keep doing. One challenge comes, the other one comes. Eventually, in May, one of the biggest challenges that I had was my divorce. And I had been separated from my wife since like January of 2014. We get the okay, everything goes through, we get divorced, my ex and I, May 26th, and I felt like finally I can really give myself to this person who's given of themselves so much. And eventually he takes me out to Las Cruces, and we decide that we're going to buy some rings. And I knew that it was going to happen sooner or later, right? I didn't know if it was going to be in Las Cruces that evening in June or if it was going to be, here in Silver City. But we ended up coming back from Las Cruces that night after getting the rings in Las Cruces. And he proposes to me at a restaurant that we've been going to for my birthday. We've been going there for different special events and stuff like that. It's like our special place. It's called the Wrangler. And over a couple of margaritas, out in the back patio, he gets on a knee and does the deed and says things, and I'm like, of course, yes, let's do this. Let's make this happen. And puts the ring on my finger and off we go. Eventually, we decide, I can't really get married until I'm like past some kind of a 30-day period with my other marriage and stuff. And we start researching it, deciding on where we want to get married, what we want to do, and all that. And I think that a Vegas wedding would be probably the easiest because, they talk about it all the time. You could have your honeymoon, have your wedding, do that little quick drive-up thing. But the thing is that it's not that quick of a drive-up thing. If you look at it, you have to file, and then the pastor has to make sure that they get the information to government officials. It was just complicated. So one day we decide in July, instead of getting married in Vegas, why don't we look into getting married here? So we do just that, and we find out that it's really super easy to get married in Silver City, New Mexico. And we just go to the courthouse and we get a couple of witnesses, our friends, who, by the way, at this point, we just met them, but they are so taken by our story, by our love story, that they decide to give us another ceremony where I'm actually going to walk down the aisle, and we're actually going to do this ceremony in front of a pastor, in front of friends, and have a traditional wedding. And but first, they are our witnesses, and the judge here in town marries us. And a few days later, we're off to our honeymoon in Vegas, because we didn't stop the thing about going to Vegas. We just kind of X'd out the marriage. We're already married. We go to Vegas, have a great time, come back. August 1st is the day that I'll never forget, the day that we had both been waiting for all of our lives. I mean, everything has led up to this one incredible moment in our lifetime. I am going to marry my soulmate, the person that I would do anything for, and the person that knows me for me, feminine me, masculine me, all of me, and accepts me and takes me as I am. So we have this beautiful wedding planned out in the backyard of a friend's house, and he's been so kind to just deck it all out and have nice flowers and rose petals and all kinds of beautiful things. You know, we get married over, like, under this old arch and stuff that, like, he had bought and everything. And it was just everything. One problem though, the weather was not looking that great. It was cloudy, and we had already kind of worried about it, because here in Silver City we've had pretty wet summer at this point. So it's around 5 o'clock. I've done my makeup. We've taken some pictures, Mark and I have, in our place. And oh, one thing, we ended up moving right before we went on our honeymoon. We ended up moving from the RV and to a beautiful one-bedroom apartment, and the universe just provided that for us, and we were able to do that. So getting ready and everything, we see that it's going to storm and everything, and we're just worried about it. But Mark is very calm, and he's like, it's going to be okay. It's drizzling when we get there. Our MC, the person who's put this wedding together, he is beside himself. He's like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? I don't know. I mean, I don't have a certain plan to do something indoors. Everything's outside. It's all getting wet, blah, blah, blah. And we're just like, it's okay. Whatever it is, it's going to be just fine. It ends up stopping. The rain stops. And eventually we find out that having rain in the middle of, the day that you're going to get married is like any time you get rainfall in the desert, it's a sign of a blessing. So we thought about it, that it was something that was going to be a problem, but it ended up being a blessing, It was just a beautiful ceremony. I walked down the aisle. I looked at Mark. He looked at me. People stood. Wedding procession happened, and we got married in the evening on that day, and had our first dance. Had a wonderful, wonderful first dance. I almost fell because we had practiced this dance. We've been practicing this dance, and it was something that we want to get right. It was like a story. The song was like a story of our lives. And it's that drop, the traditional drop when the groom drops the bride into his arms and stuff. Well, I was born male and Mark was born female. I'm 180 and Mark is 150, 140. And we had a little accident, but we recovered and we smiled about it. And it was a wonderful moment, because without that moment of there wouldn't have been that bright countenance smile that we both had on our faces when we ended up laughing about it during the song. And I just can't imagine my life without without Mark, without Maritza, without this dual-gendered person who reflects myself in them and I reflect him in her. It's just a wonderful, incredible reality. And I know that life doesn't always bless people with that kind of love, but our love story is really that kind of love. It's the kind of love that you read about in fairy tales. It's a kind of love that doesn't really exist. I thought I had given up on it, but when I least expected it, it came to me. And we have challenges, we have struggles. I still deal with my past. I have 5 children that I'm estranged from, and I don't blame anybody but myself for my actions. Gender transition is not the answer to people that struggle with gender identity. It's a very difficult place to put everyone that knew you before under that type of I don't know, it's just a terrible thing for them. And the more and more I get distance from them and from that time, that whole experience of life that I used to have, the more I realize that it's really not something that is necessary. You know, people have duality. People have a feminine and a masculine. But if it wasn't for the issues that I've dealt with, I wouldn't be where I am at now. I wouldn't have met this person, this beautiful person that I am able to share my life with, had it not been for that. So everything has a purpose in life. Everything has a reason for existing. Everything, the universe has a plan. And even a mountainside flip over, roll over accident, left for dead, mistake, something beautiful can come out on the other side of that. And the challenges, like I said, are great, but the love that we have surpasses any of the challenges that we have. And together, we're invincible. We can do anything because we love.